Hello ladies and gents, welcome back to Chaos TV's live coverage of DreamHack Bucharest quarterfinals, the final game of this best of three between H2 Gaming and Team Property. I'm Edis, joined by Spuddington, and we are into the picks and bans. Shaban, Shen, Fizz, Elise, Corky and Zed have all been taken out of contention. Not too surprised about the Corky ban, honestly, Spud. Not seen it for a long time, but both AD carries like to play it.
Yes, but I do feel actually that in this case, the Corky ban there is slightly playing into the hands of h2k, because you can see there they first picked out Vi. The reason they did get that Corky banned there is because they didn't want it to be first picked, but if they had had it first picked, that would have put them in an awkward position because they would have had to choose between Vi or Corky, or at least force them to ban Vi out themselves.
That's very true, and Vi has been played both games. Fizzin had a very good game with her last time around when they won, and the game before that, I believe that Jankos actually picked her from h2k's perspective, so he's going to be going for the double here. Oh wow, they are opting at a potential Karma. I would not expect to see this locked in, but I would love that to be the case.
Could be a placeholder pick, but Karma is not to be underestimated these days. She's got some serious strengths to her kit, and it really, really shines if you are... Essentially, there's two situations maybe, where Karma is probably the best... Okay, best maybe not, but like one of the best characters in the game, right? In a straight up, all-in situation, one-on-one, she is brokenly powerful, because the Mantra W restores a total of 40% of her health, which is mental in a one-on-one. The other situation in which she is incredibly good is kiting away using that AoE E or the AoE Q and just spamming those Qs back, because they really, really hurt nowadays. And with the extra bonus damage and with the extra kiting potential, she is just so good in those scenarios. So if you are able to force the enemy to charge at you and you have a Karma, she's so good at that. But they didn't lock it in, so I'm nattering on about nothing.
Well, they were thinking about Karma and Zillion, and they switched, unfortunately, to Ezreal Sona, which are much more staple champions overall in the current meta. On the side of Team Property, though, Zyra, Ari as well, or Ari, I'll try my best, guys, I'm trying. Caitlyn and also Xin Zhao have all been locked in. Xin I haven't actually seen for quite a while, but is still, in my opinion, a very good jungler, and Fizzin will be picking that one up.
The thing about Xin Zhao at the moment is kind of like, why do you want to pick him if Jarvan the Fourth and Vi exist? He does do disengage better than either of those guys, but otherwise he is generally does a similar thing, not quite as well. Probably has a little bit more damage early on, but he's got slightly less reliable ganking tools as well. So, you know, solid pick all around, but not necessarily one you want all the time. But if they're picking him, that does mean they want some kind of disengage here, which I'm a little bit surprised to see, because thus far, h2k have only really picked two champions that are kind of what you define as hard engaged champs.
That is true, and they have the choice of the last two here. It looks as though it's going to be Nasus. In fact, they just switched over last second, so Renekton and Zillion. Again, not sure if Zillion is going to be a placeholder or not. Overpower picking that one up, so Zillion mid is viable, it is possible. I just don't really expect to see it coming out here. So 10th and final lock-in for Team Property is going to be, I would imagine, their top laner. No idea what it's going to be though.
Well, Zillion works very well with the characters like Vi and Renekton. The characters that jump into the middle, sit around, do a lot of AoE damage, and then eventually get just kind of focused down as a result of being in the middle of the enemy team. Zillion works very well with them because not only can they carry the bombs, not only can he move them into the center of the team faster, but then he can resurrect them when they eventually do get killed. And it means they can commit completely without needing to worry about maybe I should back out now. They can just go ham. So it wouldn't actually be too terrible of a pick. Plus, against Ari in a lane, he's actually quite nasty. It's one of those things where he can harass from within the minions. As long as he can sidestep the Q, he can really, really brutalize people with time bombs, because they do a ton of damage. Does have some mana issues, and it'll be dependent on whether they can keep control of blue buffs. Could also be a placeholder pick, but we'll see if they go for it.
I don't think it is a placeholder, because typically if it was, they'd have already quit out and started to remake the lobby, but they are in this for the long haul right now, and we're actually getting into the delay, so Overpower will be playing Zillion. And that's definitely an interesting pick. It is a good pick in mid, no doubts about it. It's very much a possibility. So Atrox is going to be top. We were talking about that before. So Atrox against Zaxxas is Renekton, you have to assume. We're on delay, ladies and gents. So again, we're going to cross our fingers that it's all going to come good and we can get into the third game. But when you rejoin us after this delay, 2 minutes 30 away, we are going to be live for game number 3, the all-important decider in this best of 3 format between h2k Gaming and Team Property. We'll be right back just after this.
ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Team Property versus h2k. This is the third game in this best of three, the deciding game. And I am Spuddington, I'm joined by Metas. We had a pause timer before we went live, and now we have another one.
We do, and the first pause was because, sorry, I'm laughing because it's so random. They just randomly paused and said, the sun is attacking us. So, by all accounts, the sun is shining on their screens, they're blaming Leona, they're saying riot please, all that kind of stuff. Because remember, they are at DreamHack Bucharest, they're in the LAN right now. So they're not in the comfort of their own bedrooms or their own rooms right here, so they're having some issues, but it kind of cracked me up for the reasons why.
Quote, we're asking if the sun can be turned off.
Yeah. And loads of things about nerf Leona as well in the chat, and Leona please, so it's pretty funny that both teams can see the funny side of it.
First world problems. Terrible, terrible first world problems. But, yeah, we have actually got the unpause coming in, I think. We've got people saying yes, so yes, there we go. Unpause coming in. Metas, do you have any thoughts as to who you would expect to be going for the invade here?
I'm not too sure. Honestly, maybe both teams are just going to play fairly kind of defensive and passive, because remember, this is the third game. We have another pause.
Screw you,
this
son.
Scumbag son, ruining games. It doesn't just create all life and keep life sustained, but when it comes to League of Legends, come on, son.
So what I assume is the problem here is they keep raising the curtain just slightly, and then the sun rises a bit more. So we have pause timers every 20 seconds for about 20 seconds, maybe. Not entirely sure what this one is. It could be the sun again, but it could also be something else. I don't know. Maybe someone, you know, is giving birth. It could be anything. But Vander is actuals under the desk.
What the hell is going on? I don't know what he is doing, is what Jankos is telling us. Apparently Vander is taking the whole game of footsies a bit too far. Or potentially just hiding away from the sun. I mean, gamers are synonymous with not necessarily being outside a great deal. But regardless, the unpauses came in again, and hopefully this time it will remain the case. To answer the question, though, Spud, that you posed about who will invade, I wouldn't be too surprised if both teams play this one safe. It is the third game in this best of three. There is a lot to lose. This is at LAN. So if you make one big mistake and go 2 or 3 kills down in the first 2 minutes, that could actually seal the deal.
Yeah, that's definitely true, and it's worth noting, I think, right now, that Fizzin is kind of in a position where he might look to go for a late invade. He's got most of the team in the area, Ardrox is at that top area, and it feels like h2k was expecting a late invade on the blue because they've got that ward in the tri-brush up there and a ward covering the banana brush as well. Technical terms, but Fat Mama going to be putting down a ward. Just kind of both teams actually are kind of feeling quite paranoid, actually, it seems.
Yeah, exactly, and I think that really does, again, just hit the nail on the head in terms of the situation both of these lineups are in right now. Third game, everything on the line, probably very tense atmosphere between the two, kind of nerves probably jingling around as well, so you just don't want to give the opposition a free first blood and kind of get one of their characters snowballing. So standard openings here, Fizzin is going to be starting on his blue, while at the same time Jankos will be taking up his red. No lane switch up, so the Zillion in mid against Ari, and also top Atrox against Xaxis' Renekton, and of course that's going to leave the 2 duo lanes to go bot.
Now I'm going to keep an eye on overpower Zillion mechanics here, because I know you would normally expect people to say there's not a lot to Zillion. You kind of walk up to someone, you put a time bomb on them, and then you ult someone who's nearly dead. But he actually has really, really solid lane harass with the time bombs, but he also has really, really solid lane harass with the auto attacks. He's got 600 range auto attacks, which is significantly more than most normal AP casters, and indeed quite a lot of AD carries. But the other thing is, once he's hit late game, if he gets enough mana and cooldown reduction, he can constantly keep his E up. By spamming that W, spamming that E, he will constantly have uptime on it. And that means constant decision making. If he gets to that late game situation, it's incredibly influential, but it's something that takes a lot of mental exertion to keep going in a team fight.
It's also very interesting to me how the characters are being switched around so much in this best of 3 spot. So Zyra, speaking of which, has just caught a grasping roots. What I was going to say is that last game Vandenoob was on Zyra, Fat Mama was on Sona, Kestrel's got Caitlyn, last game Celiva was on Caitlyn, and at top lane we've got all kinds of action about to kick off. Jankos actually misses the Vault Breaker. Here comes a slicing dice into Ruthless Predator from Xaxus, and Dark Flight actually going in. They go hyper aggressive on Jankos, forced to flash away instantly, now changing the focus on Renekton, and they will back away with the Ignite ticking down. So flash down from a Jankos, very important.
Yeah, that's pretty a nice thing, and I think it was actually sheerly on the whiff of the Vault Breaker, because that's a significant proportion of his damage early on, and without that he didn't dare get aggressive. So a little bit unfortunate there for Jankos and co, but he should be okay with that. He won't need his flash desperately until he's kind of hit level 6, whereupon he will be able to make huge plays with that ultimate. That's really one of Vi's main kind of selling points. It's just her ability to jump across a massive distance in one go.
Yeah, very true. As I was saying before about the champion switch up, Xaxus I believe was Aatrox's last game, and of course Vi was being played from Fizzin, so characters really being exchanged like candy. Kestrel has just been kind of poked down there to about 2 or 3 bars of HP. Celiva, who also took some damage. Let's have a look at how many of those summoners were burnt. Just the exhaust. So exhaust is down from Fat Mama, and Sona still has hers up.
Okay, so Fizzin now circling around. Celiva low on mana. Vandenoob a little bit low as well. He is round behind them. He has his red buff, and they are getting aggressive. They smelt a rat here.
They definitely have. Instant flash from Vandenoob. Here comes Zindo jumping in with the audacious charge. Oh, Zyra's actually going to fall from Ezreal, so they've turned this one round. What was a 3 versus 2 situation comes good for Celiva and Vandenoob. He's going to be very happy in that one. And we'll just kind of stay around and get some last hits. So big plays coming in from h2k's bot lane.
Yeah, nicely done. And just think about how if Zilean was not in this game, 8% less EXP there, so they probably wouldn't have had the level 4 there on Sona. Would have actually decreased their damage significantly, would have decreased their healing significantly, might have made a slight bit of a difference there, but as it happens, I don't know that for certain, and I'm certainly not going to try and do the maths on stream.
It definitely is just an extra kind of advantage that Zilean brings to the table. You're completely correct. The difference between being level 5 and level 4, for example, is pretty huge, or level 4 and level 3 as the case may be. Is the difference between an extra point in those abilities that is just going to escalate the damage, or the sustain as the case may be with Sona's W, is her aria of perseverance. So definitely interesting, definitely a big point to be made. Xaxus has forced back Aatrox there at top lane, has just hit level 6 and just pushing the creep wave to the tower.
It also actually really helps out with your junglers though, because getting those kind of XP breakpoints to hit levels earlier means you not only clear the jungle a little bit faster, but it also means you can get those kind of critical break points. You can get to that level 6 on Vi that little bit quicker, which can be hugely important when you have a jungler who really wants to take advantage of stuff like that.
Yeah, mid lane, some harassment going down. Overpower on the receiving end there. Spirit Rush is still up, and also the Chronos Shift, of course, is still up as well. So both ults available for use. The Chronos Shift is going to be very interesting when you conjunct it with the likes of a Renekton or a Vi jumping really aggressive into the enemy team. So I think that's definitely going to be a huge factor as this game progresses on, Spud.
Yeah, we will see. It's actually another note about the experience passive, and I know I'm banging on about it, but especially with a character like Renekton, who likes to go all in early on, that is actually an amazingly huge influence, because you can hit those critical levels early on. Aggression coming out in the bot lane though.
Kestrel being forced back once again, and I apologise, I know I'm going to make this mistake at some point in this game. I'm going to call it the Chronosphere, and the reason for that is because I played a lot of Red Alert 2. So anyone that played Red Alert 2 will know what I'm talking about. For some reason that's just what I want to go to every time I speak about Zilean. But regardless, not a great deal happening here, Spuddington. Neither team's really gone for Drake, because there's not been that many picks going about down there, apart from that first blood that came in, of course, from Celiva. So it's going to be kind of a slow, steady approach, I think, from both teams.
Yeah, Fizzin actually looks like Alberto may find Jankos. He's just jumped out. That red buff I have no idea if it's up because nobody has vision of it, and if he stole it away, I didn't see. He does have a red buff though, so that's probably a telling sign. It does look like Xyras could be in trouble here though.
Oh, Assault and Battery going on, and the Dominus as well. Xyras is taking so much damage with the Bloodwell being on cooldown and not available. That is going to be a kill. Zaxxas pushing the envelope out this lane. Needs to be careful because Fizzin's round the side. Janko's doing a great job of blocking Fizzin actually, and his pathing. This is really well played, but in doing so, Alberto reacting much quicker than the Zillion in mid. Janko's now could be falling down. Vault breaking through the wall. Ignite ticking. Will it be enough? Yes, it will. And that will be a red buff on top of it to the Ori.
Doesn't mean that Zaxxas got out alive, and I'm not really sure whose life is more valuable there. But regardless, engagement in the bot lane once again.
Kestrel could be going down. Barrier comes up, however. Zyra did get killed, I should say, just beforehand. So Fat Mama goes down to the hands of Ezreal once again, who picks up the 2-0. And surprise, surprise, Spellington goes for the early phage.
Yeah, it does seem to be becoming quite a common thing. Possibly the sun has attacked once again. No, black screen. We've gone from white to black, but it does, it is a really, really solid item, very, very gold efficient, and the movement speed cannot be overstated how valuable that is on an AD carry. I know Reckless actually sometimes goes for a phage, which he then doesn't necessarily build into anything on Cape, just because that movement speed is so valuable, and, well, kiting away, kind of what AD carries do. Regardless though, solid performance all around from both teams at the moment, but definitely h2k taking the edge.
Yeah, with the aforementioned build from Reckless on Caitlyn, I think the reason for taking the phage is because it's just so strong, but they've changed what it builds into. It used to build into both a Frozen Mallet and a Trinity Force. Now it just builds into the Trinity Force. So for Caitlyn, Trinity Force isn't really that good. There's no real need to pick it up. She prefers items like Infinity Edge, Last Whisper, Phantom Dancer like we saw in the previous game. But Reckless clearly just thinks that phage is that damn good, it's worth picking up regardless.
Yeah, and, well, it's a perspective I'm not sure I share myself, but who am I to judge? It is certainly a viable perspective, though, and Celeber taking a lot of damage in the bot lane, but he's just jumping out, so no worries. He's Ezreal. Too bad, Brad. You can't do any damage here. Zin is in the top lane, though. Mobility Boots activated, and Aatrox with the Bloodwell.
This isn't looking too good for Zaxxas. The question is, can Fizzin and Zyras go for that perfect engage? The other jungler, which will be Jankos, is nowhere near, and here they come. Audacious Charge will be firing him with the three-pronged strike as well. Zaxxas goes up in the air from the Dark Flight. Ignite's being popped as well. Dominus is used, but in vain, as he will be dropping there to the onslaught. Meanwhile, Jankos at bot lane is moving very quickly for a potential dragon, but both Fat Mama and also Kestrel are fairly high on hit points, in fact almost full alongside Hulberto, so they're not going to bother for that one just yet. Instead, actually, Fizzin's coming down to mid lane, and they may very well go for a gank.
And wow, actually, I had not noticed the level disparity right now in mid lane. He just hit level 9 a second ago, Hulberto there. Overpower, though, he's level 10. It's a full level advantage and maybe a little bit more as well. So that's a big difference, and you can see now Overpower taking away these jungle camps. That's probably the main reason for that. But kind of not something I normally expect to see on a Zillion, that much farm.
Yeah, and the kill potential as well in mid is pretty much zero for Hulberto. Even if he hits a charm on Overpower, Overpower's going to have more than enough time to pop off the Chrono Shift. So he's going to be fine. The charm comes out, not going to be landing from Hulberto, and also pops off the Foxfire as well. But regardless, yeah, it's going to be a case that he's probably going to be able to farm Spud. Even if a gank comes in from Fizzin, with his ultimate up, I feel that Zillion should be able to escape pretty much every time.
Yeah, if he's overextended, they might be able to get him, because with the mobility boost, he could get chased down. But yeah, difficult thing to gank is a Zillion. He is very squishy though, so they can blow him up once fairly quickly. And unfortunately for him, he is also having a little bit of trouble farming under tower. So Ahri just keeping him pressured up against this tower, preventing him from taking the raid camp to it.
Yep, but that is going to be Fizzin going actually for this red steal. Needs to be careful. Jankos is en route. However, Jankos is a level behind in terms of experience. It's very close to level 8, however, but that red buff has been stolen. Here comes Hilberto, and also overpowered from the top, walking over the wards. That is a completely successful red steal, and they will pull themselves back to their own jungle.
Alright, so Ezreal now in this area down the bottom. Going to be just farming that up. There's not too much activity going across the map. At the moment, it's mostly a farm fest. So Zilean is going to be picking up, you know, his probably a Fiend's Unholy Grail at some point. Probably has enough gold for it. If not, he's close. But actually going for the dragon. I'm just surprised to see that Vandernoop getting caught.
Oh, Vandernoop gets completely chunked. However, just Fizzin goes in by himself. That's a beautiful crescendo landing on 3 players. Fizzin falls to the Zilster's bomb there. He will be very, very strong right now. And now Celiva is in a fairly precarious position, but he's playing as Ezreal. So the Arcane Shift is up very shortly. Ace in the hole comes about. Is it enough damage? He stands on top of a trap. However, here comes the Arcane Shift. In fact, in doing so, is baited out this aggression from Hilberto, who does pick up that kill. Atrox from the side, however, this is looking like it's backfiring. There's going to be egg on the face of h2k. Blades of Torment comes down, and the Massacre as well. The Piltover Peacemaker picks that one up to perfection. And with 3 players dead in the Death Chamber, that should be a free dragon to boot.
Yeah, it felt to me like that was a miscommunication there. You saw Jankos jump in to finish off that kill. Don't think he even got the kill as a result, but he jumped out again with his flash just as Zilean ulted him. If he'd stayed in, if he'd forced them to either commit a ton of cooldowns to killing him, or just been left to freely DPS for however long the Zilean buff lasts, which is I think like 7 seconds, that would have made their fight much, much stronger, because as it was, they were just left on the retreat, and there was a lot of easy cleanup available. So, nice fight from Property, but I have to say, I feel that was more on the mistakes of h2k.
I think this is what a LAN atmosphere does to players, where when you're in the comfort of your own home, and you know, you're sat on your own chair, sat on your own table, and you're just playing, you have none of this kind of added pressure from a LAN event. This is where they start to creep in with small mistakes, with a bit of miscommunication, where players start to think and second guess themselves. Could very well be the case of what h2k just did there. So there's another factor that comes into these kind of games. It's who has the better composure under these stressful situations. Who can really make the big plays when it counts. If h2k start to make more of these mistakes and don't communicate well, Team Property probably will win this game. They have good champions. They're clearly very strong individually and as a unit. You don't want to give them too many chances to win this game.
Indeed, but once again, Xin is in the top lane. Got Tiamat pick up there on Zyras. I don't think they can really dive him, so they're probably just going to wait for the wave to clear out and push out again. Xaxis will do that. He does have that Sunfire Cape. But now, will they be able to get something done? There's also a potential gank happening in the bot lane. The ward did just run out in that lane brush. This could get interesting across the map.
It certainly could effectively have 2 ganks going on at the same time. Both junglers are biding their time like coiled vipers, ready for that opportune moment to strike. Neither of them feeling it's the right time, however. This is very smart from Kestrel and Fat Mama. They don't want to push too aggressively. They realise they have no ward coverage, and that good junglers like Jankos will be there laying in wait. Same can be said at top lane, where Fizzin actually recalled. So we've built up the hype here, Spud. It doesn't appear anything's going to happen just yet, though.
Yeah, a little bit odd. Jankos is still hanging around, but you know, the thing is, they can't afford right now anyone on Property to check that brush. And the moment they do check it, if Jankos has like gone for full chess Grandmaster and thought like 3 steps ahead, whoa, Jankos is under the tower.
He's gone so aggressive, but at the wrong possible time. Crescendo comes about, but that's going to be at least 1 kill. Could very well convert into 2 or 3 more. Here comes Fizzin, chasing down Vandernoop. Piltover Peacemaker again picking up the pieces. That is going to be a 2-for-0 exchange, and talk about the wrong place at the wrong time from Jankos' perspective. Meanwhile, in mid, actually, Hilberto's flashing up red after Zilean puts down some pain. And Zilean is really starting to roar ahead in this mid lane, actually.
Yeah. So do you know what I was actually about to say about thinking 3 steps ahead? I was about to say that if someone comes in range of Vi, Vi should not take that chance, because they were clearly aware that he was in that brush, or at least they suspected the possibility, and there's no reason for them to take that risk to check it with a seed, unless they were looking to bait him in. And that is actually what ended up happening there. They caught him out essentially off his own assault and battery, so he didn't go full chess Grandmaster, and it's much easier to think about things like that when you're not playing and you've got a full overall perspective. But it was a bait, relying on Xin being there to back them up.
Yeah, and it was a smart kind of incense bait where they just simply hadn't seen Vi for such a long time that they were assuming that she was down in that bush. It was a case of, look, their bot lane's starting to play more aggressive here. Something's up. They've not done this for a while. She must be down here. Vi must be waiting in this bush. Hey, Fizzin, you know you've been at top for the last 2 minutes, but why don't you just come down bot and try and counter gank? And it just worked to perfection there, Spuddington. So you can't say much more than Fizzin's positioning there was absolutely prime. Dark flight from Zyrez to jump back towards his own tower, and Renekton is actually taking a lead at top as well.
Yeah, Zyrez does not appear to be confident he can 1v1 Xaxis right now, and that, to be honest, is fairly understandable. He does have the full Hydra, which means fighting in the middle of minions, he's got a lot of lifesteal available to him, but he still does not appear to want to risk it, so he's going to be using his Dark Flight to get himself to the mid lane, it looks like. Possibly grouping up for the Dragon, which is going to be in about 1 minute. Renekton making a very similar move. Fizzin is sitting in that bot lane, and he was like a centimetre away from Celiba's Q there. If that had hit, the jig would have been up.
Definitely would have been, but now both junglers are down here. Crescendo comes in, just catches on Kestrel, however, Stranglethorns instantly for the disengage. True Shot Barrage came through, did catch on Fat Mama, I believe, but nothing is going to come about. However, here comes Zyras from the top, and also Renekton. It's all about the action now with 30 seconds for Drake. Jankos is going to be falling first to Celiba. Second kill comes in from Renekton. Bloodwell's been popped off, flashing away from Zyras, but Renekton flashing in the middle with Dominus is doing so much damage. He is such a beefy tank right now. Look at Ari's health. On top of that, there's 2 free kills here to be picked up. However, they are finally going to get them, with Ezreal claiming the kill on Hulberto, and also Renekton taking it down courtesy of the Zyras. So at the end of all of that, it's a 3-for-1 exchange with Dragon coming up in just 7 seconds.
Yeah, nice fight by h2k. I've got to say though, Fizzin read the situation pretty effectively. The fight just dragged on longer than he anticipated. He was ready for the Vi gank. You saw, like, he was sitting in that brush for a good 10-20 seconds before Vi went for the gank. He knew she was going to come here, and he knew he wanted to counter gank that. Unfortunately, the fight dragged on, and when the roam came in, Renekton was a lot stronger than Aatrox. He exerted a lot more influence on that fight, and as a result, it went in the favor of h2k.
Definitely did. They got bushwhacked by the outback Renekton. Was so big in that fight with the Dominus. You got Sunfire Cape and a Warden's Mail, so there's no escaping him once he's chasing you down. And we've been talking about who has the better composure, who's going to make those right plays at the right time. Been a couple of mistakes from h2k, a couple of missteps, but that was definitely the other way around. The shoe was on the other foot, and they did pick up the Dragon on top of that. So the gold lead has actually not just been closed in terms of the gap, but h2k have took the lead by 700. Still very close though, Spud. Still a close, tense action kind of affair between these two teams.
Yeah, and a lot of this is going to depend on who comes out as the stronger top laner in the long term. Right now, definitely Renekton. He's beefy, he's tank stats, he's just not someone Zyrez can fight one-on-one, and he's exerting more teamfight pressure, but Renekton famously will fall off quite significantly in terms of damage threat, and that is even more true if you go for that Sunfire Cape build. So if Aatrox can keep him trapped up there without losing too much farm as a result, he will eventually outscale him. He's actually farming him at the moment, and Xin coming in from the side.
Definitely is. Fizzin actually knocking him back with the ultimate there, jumping back in again with the red buff, but He's so tanky. Has a Giant's Belt plus a Sunfire Cape and Warden's Mail. It's a really nice build actually from Renekton. When you look at the only AP damage coming in from Team Property is going to be from Hilberto's Ahri in the mid. The rest is by and large AD damage coming from Aatrox and also Xin. So I like this build from Zaxxas. Also something just caught the side of my eye there. Have a quick look at the CS difference at bot lane. 209 to 131, that's huge, and that's what's actually converting into this big item difference. Trinity Force and a last Whisper for Ezreal, with just an Infinity Edge for Caitlyn.
Wow, that is actually pretty significant. There is at least the Vamp Scepter, but the difference between them must be, what, 1300 gold at least. Indeed, it looks more like 2,000 there, but the fight in the top lane.
Yeah, Zyrus not looking like he's going to be too healthy for too long, and he will be going down from Vine, so they get the revenge. Instantly coming back up, and Janko's right place that this time around. But as you say, yeah, the difference in gold between the two AD carries, Caitlyn's got 6.4k and Ezreal has 8.6. It's a big chunk of difference at 23 minutes through the game, and you can plus the two towers that have just gone down. In the meantime, Overpow and also Fizzin are chasing after Ahri here very quickly. In fact, the other way around, sorry, Ahri and Xin were chasing after Overpow. Charm lands instantly after the ultimate. They're looking for this kill. Meanwhile, at bot, actually, Ezreal has picked up the kill. Overpow could be going down. Actually, will he go down? He's running away from this. Time warping in and also rewinding, and gets himself out of dodge with literally 20 hit points or sub that. Unbelievable plays from Overpow.
Well, if you look at how much movement speed he can actually get from just spamming EW, he's now kind of hitting a point where it's almost up all the time. He's on 24% cooldown reduction. He had blue buff during that fight, so he was at 40%. So his E was effectively almost on like a 1 second cooldown, and that movement speed buff is 55%. That is huge. And by the way, that's going to have a huge influence on the effectiveness of Xin and Aatrox in these late game team fights, because he can slow them both down majorly, and with full cooldown reduction, 100% uptime, in fact more than 100% uptime on it.
That's a really good point. The Zilean was the final pick in from h2k. They're definitely looking at this melee-centric composition that's coming out from Team Property and like, Zilean fits the bill here in many different ways. So, yes, but I couldn't agree more with what you just said there. The slowing down capabilities onto both Fizzin and Aatrox are going to make them, by and large, useless for a couple of seconds. They're going to be able to get kited so easily, and look at the AD carry that h2k have. The hyper-maneuverable Ezreal, who can just stay on those backlines, arcane shifting in if worst comes to worst, and constantly putting down a lot of damage on you. Looking like he's going to go for the Bloodthirster next, so I really like this composition from h2k, and it seems to be working for them.
Yeah, it really is actually. Also, I want to mention again now about Zilean, because I just love talking about Zilean. I get Zilean all the time in ARAM, by the way. But, like, if you get, what is it? Oh yeah, full cooldown reduction on him. His ult, I think, effectively goes down to about a 40-second cooldown, assuming you spam your W on every single time it comes up. Which is huge, by the way, and a kill on Zyra. Which is frankly secondary to my prattle about Zilean.
I don't know if you caught that, Spud, but that was pretty much 100 to 0 in 1.5 seconds. True Shot Barrage crushing through, Arcane Shift, Q, goodbye. Thanks for the free kill.
That is quite a lot of damage, and that's what happens when you get a super farmed Ezreal. Trinity Force Last Whisper, 5-1 as well. In fact, looking maybe even for a dive there, but not going to go.
Yeah, they kind of realise that, yes, they're ahead, but they don't want to make any overly aggressive plays that could get them behind. This tower has got 61 hit points remaining, so it is super low. But they did have some reinforcements coming in the form of both Fizzin and also Hilberto. They're going to clear out this creep wave. They don't want this tower to fall, but in the meantime, Renekton is just kind of starting to get very scary. Their entire composition is Dragon has just respawned, and it will be going down for free. Aatrox is at top. He's just trying to farm and push this lane. There's nothing they can do to contest this, and it will be falling.
Someone gonna finish off that dragon there? No? Okay, fine. But yeah, nice little bit of maneuvering there. They knew that they were going to defend that creep wave, and in fact going for Fat Mama here with the stun.
Oh, they're going really aggressive. I think Zaxxas was kind of caught off guard there by the fact that they would focus down Fizzin, who was out of position. There is the maneuverability I was talking about. Arcane shifting away. True Shot Barrage comes in, doesn't catch on Fat Hammer, but they're going to be jumping in regardless. Crescendo comes in. That's beautiful play. And the bomb as well. Is it going to be enough damage? Only just not enough. And Hilberto will survive. Caitlyn is now trying to mount some kind of a comeback. They are retorting, retaliating back to this onslaught. Here's Zyras taking the front lines, does take a bomb to the face, and that will mark the end of this re-engage. So at the end of the day, that's going to be a 1-for-1 trade.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of a little bit surprised though that Zilean didn't go really aggressive at the end there, because he still has his ultimate available, and it's worth noting 1100 plus 651 health restore on that, so that's pretty much more than his entire health bar at the moment. That, for someone like Renekton, who's stacking resistances, is effectively like 3,000-4,000 health, just because it's effective HP, and that is huge amounts. And if he, dived in on Caitlyn, they could have possibly bursted her down with Ezreal. A little bit risky, maybe, not worth it, I suspect, is probably their logic, if that was even what they were thinking of at all. But, just a thing that maybe they could have.
It was honestly terrifying if I was playing against Celiva's Ezreal right now. His Q has a 4-second cooldown, and it's doing just shy of 400 damage. So that's not taking into account his Arcane Shift, or his True Shot Barrage, or even his auto attacks. His Q is hitting you for about 400 damage to the face. That's terrifying to play against.
Yeah, and it's applying the... Wait, so is that counting the Trinity Force proc as well?
No, that's not even counting Triforce proc, so it's even higher than that.
Yeah, because that's going to be giving you, what, base attack damage, 200%. Yeah, okay, that's going to be giving you another couple of hundred damage there. So, yeah, pretty significant damage coming out of Ezreal, even as poke. Plus, he's got those auto attacks, plus he's got that inbuilt attack speed, and now it looks like they're trying to catch someone out here. Vi is in the area. Jankos just, hanging around, has got that Assault and Battery available. Vandernoop also has the Crescendo. Got a lot of CC lockdown, but if they go for Aatrox, if Aatrox is the one to face check it, that could be problematic.
Oh, and then actually Zilean has sped up Jankos. This is another part of the composition. They can speed up the engages. Crescendo comes about, lands on 2 players. However, it doesn't land on either of the carries, and this could be a huge play from Team Property coming about. Zelva from the side, though, is doing so much damage. He's still on top of a trap, though. Picks up 1 kill on Zyra. Here comes the ace in the hole. Selva could be falling, but there's the Be Kind Rewind ulti coming in from Zilean. And now Selva pops back up again and say, what up, bros? I'm going to pick up the double kill. And that's a 3-for-1 trade. Again, it's just so scary when you play against a Fed AD carry that can instantly be resurrected from overpower to go for round number 2.
And that was some ninja ulting there by Zilean. He got it right at the last possible second. Oh, and by the way, he's already almost got it back up again. Look, 7 seconds left on that ultimate. Zilean gets really silly late game, by the way, like really silly. Celiva, yeah, but the only weakness is that Zilean in this late game situation doesn't contribute that much damage on his own. Like, decent bomb burst, but it's nothing really special. So it very much relies on your carries getting fed, which in this case is not really a problem for them.
I'm laughing at chat. I'm going to cut myself off if Celiva goes all in here on Zyras, but someone's saying, report Ezreal overusing Zilean. Well, I can't really blame him. If you've got that ultimate, and you've got Celiva who's this big and this beefy, 8-1 right now, and also has over 2,000 gold in his back pocket with the Negatron cloak, so could be going GA, not entirely sure, or potentially a Quicksilver Sash, only time will tell, as he does recall here, but the rest of his team are starting to push down the mid, and it will indeed be a Guardian's Angel, so on top of the Zilean ultimate, the Chronish Shift, you've also got a GA, so he's going to come back up twice.
Zombie team. You can't kill them. You normally expect, actually, by the way, to kind of ult the bruisers because it's more efficient in terms of giving them back that health. Because, as mentioned, the more resistances you have, the better the heal effect on the ultimate from Zilean is. But in this case, but obviously, if your AD carry is getting focused down, do revive him. But in this case, though, he's just so powerful, so valuable, that it does not really matter what the bruisers do. So long as Celiva lives, they win, no matter what.
exactly. They can't deal with his damage. They simply cannot deal with it. And even if you do burst him down, there's the J. Even if you do burst him down again, there's the Zilean ultimate. How do you deal with this composition? Is there any hope, in your opinion, for Team Property? Because I feel this is absolutely terrifying from their perspective.
In the super long term, perhaps, but the crescendo is down.
Oh, it definitely is, and that is going to be landing on Hilberto, who instantly dies from the Assault and Battery coming in there, I believe, from Vi. Jankos is now going for his double kill. Here comes that scary Outback Crocodile. The Aussie Rule Supreme will be picking up that kill. That's 4 for 0 thus far, and just Fizzin remains, and there is nothing he can do. We're talking about if you burst down Sullivan. Well, he's on full HP, and the rest of his team is still standing in the front line. So, I honestly feel at this point, Spud, is GG.
Yeah, h2k looking really, really strong right now. In fact, it looks like they may think it's GG as well. I don't think Zim can really stop this. He's going to probably dive in. He's got the Audacious Charge, but he's not going to do more than delay it. 10 seconds, okay, then no. This is GG. Indeed, the well played comes out of Fizzin. So, nicely played overall by Team Property. But in the end, h2k will take the series 2-1, and Metas, they did really, it was a really good series, actually.
It honestly was. Obviously, unfortunately, we couldn't watch number one, although I'd have loved to, because of spectator issues. We got them resolved, and the next two games were just fireworks. Really interesting games, very enjoyable to watch. And Zilean was just phenomenal that game alongside Sullivan. In fact, honestly, the entire team of h2k pulled together. They had a couple of sticky points there where things weren't quite going their way, most notably Janko's jumping on the tower just as Fizzin appeared and turned that one back around for a 2-0 exchange. But apart from that, apart from those sketchy periods, it was very good once they got the ball rolling. And I would expect the Zilean's Got Swag YouTube video to get quite a few views now off the back of this game, because Zilean is so strong in the right hands.
Yeah, he's a team you can't just first pick. Like, he's a team. He's a character you can't just first pick. But he is so strong in the right setting. Just so unbelievably strong in the right setting. You know, it's something you actually see him occasionally now in support. I think Reason Gaming like to run that. And usually, if you're going to see him at all, in the mid lane. But as it is right now, well, we may see him a little bit more. It does actually feel to me, just kind of a general note about the meta, like, feels like some of the tankier bruisers are coming back into the top lane. But regardless, we will be moving on to the next round of DreamHack Bucharest fairly shortly. Should be getting the lobby up relatively quickly as well. Not entirely sure which matchup it is because I have a goldfish memory. But regardless, we will be going into a break, and I believe after the break it will be casted by Pulse and Metas. So that is it from me for now. So if you liked me, you can follow me on Twitter, you can follow me on Facebook, twitter.com/Spuddington or facebook.com/SpuddingtonCasts. Thank you, and see you later.